Part one of summer is complete, so I guess we will do an overall recap here. You'll probably see me looking down at my notes quite a bit. Got quite a bit to discuss here. Talk about some surprises, songs that were missing in action, songs that suffered a little bit, that didn't get a lot of play time. The Evolve album, what's going on with it now and going forward, covers, what was my favorite show, favorite songs, favorite jams, etc. Try to figure out what was the best song of the year. Some years it's obvious. This year's not quite so much. Giving away I can't believe I'm saying this award. A few of the things that I missed in the nightly recaps. There's always some things, and maybe we'll just start right there. There's always some things where after the show, if it's usually a particular song, sometimes it's a particular show, or even run of shows where people disagree. This time, one of them was the Chalk Dust Torture. It was a set-ending Chalk Dust Torture. Was it maybe Chicago, possibly? And I think it was just the fact that I didn't really say much at all about it, other than, and they ended the set with Chalk Dust. And to me, it was just a set-ending Chalk Dust Torture. I mean, sure, it was blazing, but people were carrying on like this was extraordinary, this Chalk Dust Torture. And I re-listened to it a couple times, and it certainly was blazing. Got the kitty got like I got a third cat right now. I'm on cat sitting duty. Got the neighbor's cat, Cashew, here, biting at my ankles, wanting some lovin's. Oh, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. Anyways, and then people are making the connection that they went in, they opened the encore with While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and I guess Trey giving a nod to himself, I suppose. I don't know. So I'm a little on the fence there. I don't really know if I missed it. Perhaps I should have given it a little more, should have waxed on that Chalk Dust a little more, rather than just saying, I think I might have even labeled it a Chomp Dust. There is certainly a difference between Chalk Dust and Chomp Dust. But it was very good. And then what was the other thing that I think, the NIB tease. We were all waiting for an Ozzy cover, a Black Sabbath cover. And then I really love that Mike's, and there's many songs. Almost every show there's a song where there's something, and I'm like, what is that? Is this just something sounding really cool on the fly, or what is this song? This almost sounds recognizable, but not quite. And I think a lot of times they are teasing something there that I don't know, but I don't know that I ever heard NIB live that night. Like, it never occurred to me, even though I'm listening, being like, this is awesome. And then the recent Ozzy and Black Sabbath I listened to, I don't know if I actually listened to NIB, surprisingly. I obviously know the song. I like the song. I don't know how I missed that one. So that was one, rightfully so. It's just odd that I carried on about how great the Mike's was, and it was, and I did like it, but then I totally missed that. Somebody else said the 2001 had a little bit of an NIB jam. I missed that as well. So, I guess that's not bad. And then there's obviously other disagreements. People thought this was good. I didn't. I thought this was great. Others didn't. But those were a couple of things that people really, really were excited about. And I was either just missed totally or was not that excited about. And had to rethink and thought it was worth mentioning. So then I guess maybe not a ton of not a surprise in a sense, like one year my friend became a jam vehicle. So we didn't really have a surprise like that this summer, I don't believe. But there was obviously some bust outs that we did not see coming. There's always going to be some bust outs, but Petrichord, Devotion to a Dream, The Line, On Your Way Down. I certainly don't think many of us predicted that those would be coming. Certainly On Your Way Down. I don't know if they'll be here to stay. Devotion to a Dream got a second run. People were thinking lyrically, perhaps that's why. MoMA Dance taking the opening spot rather than the 2 spot most often this tour. I guess that's a bit of a surprise. It almost feels very similar, though. First song, second song. I don't know. If it's a great song. I just wish they would do more with it. And then Waves, Contact, Frankenstein, all just totally missing in action. Tila and Brother continue to be missing in action, have been for now going on a couple of years. In Tila's case, Brother, I believe, even longer. So, and that's just a result of just new songs pouring in. It didn't end with Ghost of the Forest or the Halloween shows. Now Evolve, Sigma Oasis thrown in there. Although Sigma, there's like a song or two new on there. Then you got the Trey and Page stuff, where you got like an evening song, I don't believe was played all year, was it? All summer? I don't believe we got an evening song at any point. So add that in there with the songs that are vacant. And then there's songs that just suffered, didn't get as much play time, like they had to fit them in, but with all the new stuff over the last few years, Cavern, Haley's Comet, The Wedge, that's kind of surprising. That's 3 songs that you thought would have at least gotten 2, if not 3. But then on the good side, we only got 1 Soul Planet. It was good. Set Your Soul Free, actually. A couple of those, both very good once again. So sprinkled in. And then the Evolve album. Now this is, every time they come out with a new album like this, whether it's Fuego, Big Boat, going all the way back, now up to Evolve, like it gets a lot of stage time as it comes out, even the next tour. But then it slowly will start to fade away. But boy, they played nearly the entire album this summer. Still no Valdez Nuts. They have not played that one for whatever reason. But every song got at least 1 play. Couple songs, Lonely Trip, Mercy, already starting to fade. Perhaps The Well, perhaps Ether Edge. Even the song Evolve. I don't know if those songs will stick around. But Hey Stranger and Oblivion, I think Hey Stranger and Oblivion are probably going to stay around. The same thing with Monsters. You would think Wave of Hope, being the jam vehicle that it's become, it'll stay around. It's no guarantees, though. I mean, Sense and Subtle Sounds at one time. There was a time when Petrichor was played in almost every city. Pillow Jets, Life-Saving Hamburger Bun. So I think Life-Saving's going to stay. Pillow Jets, I'm sort of on the fence. Probably like just on the outside of the rotation. Wave of Hope, I think, will stay. I certainly hope that Hey Strangers, Oblivion, and Monsters are here to stay. Like, yeah, just from here on out, I'm sure there's always going to be songs like Haley's and The Wedge that suffer to make room for stuff like Oblivion and Monsters, but I think Evolve was a big part of why last year and this year have been so good. Just injected some new stuff, not only for us, but for them. And then, oh yeah, the covers not really overplayed this summer. I thought that was good. Still mixing it up, still giving us some of the old classic covers. Loving Cup, When the Circus Comes to Town. We got one, No Quarter. Several Beatles songs. A repeat of a Beatles cover, which is okay. Even that only twice. It's not running it in the ground. Cross-eyed, not really overplayed. So the covers are still there, but backing off of them a little bit. Yamar, technically a cover. Okay, so what else? Oh yeah, I guess we'll just start to get onto some of the favorites. Now the favorites is tough. It's going to be very, there's going to be stuff I missed too. As I'm calling out my favorites, there's probably something else that was very good that I even in fact liked. I've re-listened to a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, sat through a lot of my own recaps, looked at the whiteboards, this type of thing. I've been putting up playlists and keeping notes as the summer's been going along. So my favorite shows, it could change. A month from now, you could ask me, it could be different. Some of the big jams were more obvious. Some of the first set jams, though, I think will, in fact, stick around as some of my favorites. Well, so let's get to favorite shows. This was a little easier. SPAC Night 3, obviously. I don't know if there's some recency bias there. It just happened, fresh on the mind, but that one certainly. I also know I like Charleston Night 3 and Chicago Night 3 a whole lot. There's a theme there, Night 3, Night 3, Night 3. They say Sunday shows are usually pretty good. They kind of delivered this year. I liked both of the Man shows too, Night 1 and 2 of the Man probably. So maybe those 3 Sunday shows, SPAC, Charleston, Chicago, and then Man 1 and 2. I think maybe overall those were my favorites. Others I certainly liked. They were all pretty good. 6 through 15 would be really difficult to separate. Even really 1 through 5, 1 through 10 really. If my 11th favorite show was your favorite show, it wouldn't be that shocking. Really only a couple of shows that I went away from being like, man, I really like that one, One of the nights in Boulder I didn't really care for, and then maybe one of the nights in Forest Hills was just a little okay. I was accused of overexposing myself to Phish. I believe that was the Forest Hills show that I was just like, I don't know, it was all right. And then sometimes even when I say just like, oh, it was okay, it's a pretty good show, nothing special, people think that like I hate it or something. Not really the case. There was even the 2 shows that I didn't care for this summer. There was good stuff in there. It's just overall, from beginning to end, encore included, I'd be like, it was just an okay show, If they were all like this, I don't think this would all be, I don't think we would all be this excited about a tour. and Show to Show. So those were probably my 5 favorites as of right now. The Man shows, and then the 3 Sunday shows, Chicago, Charleston, SPAC. Somebody asked me if that SPAC show was top 5 of all time. That's pushing it. Calm down. It was very good. It was very exciting. You know, not really a dull moment throughout. So, a lot of songs that, even a couple of songs that I don't really love. And Awesome Roses it was mixed in there. Part of what made it extra special, I believe. It wasn't just the Tweezer reprise madness. It was the couple of Tweezer reprises that were very good with a nice jam. One I felt like was ready to go, the other one on the fly somewhat. And then, yeah, Roses, 46 Days, Smoking. Taking a little bit of a backseat this summer, 46 Days, even Back on the Train, another one. You know, still there, certainly, but not quite as much. So then the big ones, The Sand and What's Going Through Your Mind in Pittsburgh, and The Sand at the Man, The Down with Disease. There's actually 2 of them that were very good. I like the one from SPAC, the weirdness in that one. So those big ones were obviously, I like those, but it's hard to really say that, like, oh yeah, those were my favorite. Even out of those 3, probably that Down with Disease SPAC, which maybe doesn't even belong in the same category as The Sand and What's Going Through Your Mind. I think there was another 30-plus minute Down with Disease. I actually preferred the SPAC one, which didn't quite have the clock time, but that weirdness at the end really got me. And I also made the comment that somebody took exception to, that it reminded me of back before they were a jam band. And he's like, you're telling me they weren't a jam band in 95 and 96? I guess what I meant is not in the way they are now. Like, yes, in 95, 96, there wasn't a lot of shows with multiple 20-minute jams. And that's what we got a lot of this year. That's basically just what I meant. They're not the same type of jam band. They were more like a rock and roll band who jammed back then. Now they're just a jam band. I mean, it's crazy. A very talented one. A rock and roll jam band. So, yeah, I don't know, like, yeah, put The Sand and What's Going Through Your Mind from Pittsburgh over there, and then that Down with Disease SPAC, maybe one of my favorites. And then the Piper from Columbus, the Fuego from Austin, the Carini from Manchester, you know, going all the way back. I'd kind of forgotten about that one already. Those were kind of maybe as far as if Sand and What's Going Through Your Mind were just like way up here as far as just overall size. These were more in the medium range. The Columbus Piper, the Austin Fuego, that Manchester Carini. And then, God, there's a lot of stuff I found myself being like, wow, this would probably be, you know, one of my favorites. This would be one of my favorites. A lot of first set stuff, a lot of Type 1 stuff. The Stash going back to Manchester. That mall in Columbus, believe it or not, I thought was amazing. The Caspian from The Man was very good. The mics from SPAC. Your guys' NIB mics. And then the Cities in Forest Hills. The Wolfman's Brothers in Forest Hills. Brothers, all of them. Those were pretty much all first setters. A lot of Type 1 in there. Maybe the Wolfman's less so. That mics, I don't know what that mics was. The Cities. So there was some almost second set type jamming, but not quite. There was a Bathtub Gin, I think, opened a show one night. That was killer. Another Bathtub Gin in there. Oh, SPAC. Yeah, I think that had a great Bathtub Gin. So Bathtub Gin had a little bit of a comeback year. No songs really had a major comeback year, but I feel like Gin had fallen into like, okay, it's always going to be like a 7 instead of, you know, some occasionally, you know, or more often than not being a 9 or a 10. Kind of fell back a notch. But then this year, boom, back up to 9s and 10s. Where'd that one in Austin maybe opened? And then the one in SPAC was great as well. And then now, to pick one that was overall the best, one I don't even think I've mentioned yet, was Tweezer. You know, capped by it playing the Tweezer reprise role there at SPAC. You know, very quick run through Tweezer, but they had already, you know the deal, obviously. No more need to talk about what was going on with Tweezer reprise at SPAC 3. But Tweezer, along with Bathtub Gin, kind of sneaky in there. You know, another one, like for years we got used to Tweezer being the big one, but over the last few years, not necessarily. You know, I think in 2023, Split Open and Melt kind of came out of nowhere. Was it 24? It was kind of Fuego and My Friend. I think people loved Theme from the Bottom as well last year. This year it wasn't real clear cut, and last couple of years, it certainly wasn't Tweezer or Down with Disease. Down with Disease, another one that was in the conversation. Twist, another one that kind of quietly, while it was never the biggest one of the night, just kind of consistently rolling along, usually tagged along with something that was great. No Men in No Man's Land, another one like that, just kind of quietly, we're always right there. Very good, but never the biggest one, always right along with something big. And then, yeah, they missed the mark on Light a few times this summer. So Tweezer, Down with Disease, Twist, those were a couple in contention. Fuego still won't go away. Wave of Hope, unfortunately, is in the conversation. What's going through your mind? I think it seemed like it was going to be a ringer at the start of the summer. And then we get a huge one in Pittsburgh. But then it was just, they backed off certainly after that. Some nights it wasn't even the big one of the night. Seemed like that was going to be a walk away for Song of the Summer. And so far, it's got major contenders. Down with Disease, Twist, Tweezer, Fuego, Wave of Hope. And then, I can't believe I'm saying this. This is the I Can't Believe I'm Saying This award, but probably also in contention is Everything's Right. Consistently good every time they played it. And there's other, you had to be played probably, like I kind of left Piper out of this. I think we only got Piper 3 times. I think most of these were played at a minimum of 4. So that was also part of what got you in contention for Song of the Summer. So my beloved Piper left off the list, even though we got, I think 2 of the 3 were great. And then the stuff that wasn't a lot of Type 2, Reba and YEM, both cool this summer, but not anything extraordinary. YEM kind of doing the post-vocal jam thing. Reba still coming through. First set always, I believe it was. Yeah, in fact, yes. Monsters and Hey Stranger, I thought both very consistently good. Hopefully they continue to stick around. I think they will. I feel like those 2 songs have to just kind of stay somewhat regular. And then Slave, Hood, Bathtub Gin, as usual. Slave and Hood just refusing to ever become dull or underplayed. And that's okay with me. Even played them together a couple of nights. That was wild. And then, yes, like I mentioned, Bathtub Gin had a bit of a comeback while... yeah, maybe not in contention for the Song of the Summer, but very good, along with Reba and YEM. In fact, any of those, other than Monsters. As much as I love Monsters, it was certainly not the best Song of the Summer. It's turned out to be one of the best ones from Evolve. I don't know if the song Evolve will stick around. The title track. All right, well, that does it. Hopefully you heard me over all these bugs and birds. Bugs. We got bugged a few times. The Columbus first set, looking back on, was probably way better. It's just that ending, that run of songs at the end that I don't really love, killed me. But the first set in Columbus, a lot of great first sets this whole show, whole summer really. Shouldn't be surprising. A lot of great shows would equal a lot of great first sets. Thing ain't ever gonna shut up. It's a Eastern Sparrow. Get a lot of them around here. Yeah. Definitely a sparrow. Might be a blue jay. Oh, there he is. There's Cashew. All right. Well, the cats had been a bit of a theme this summer. Perhaps we'll end you with a little cashew action. Look at that. I brought the water out here earlier. Oh, what's he eyeballing now? Probably a cicada. He's been known to have a cicada. What you got? Where you been? What you got all over you? What are you doing down there? I'm supposed to be watching you. Why are you so dirty? Yep. He's interested in getting that mallard you hear quacking. Alright guys, boom. Cats, Phish, Summer 25. It was all very good stuff. Boom. Thank you all. That was the recap. I'm sure I left something off. There was so much great stuff. Something had to be forgotten. Was going to be missed. And, yeah, I don't know. I guess that does it. Oh yeah, I'm not done with the picks either. Still going to follow up with the pickers. And boom, this is almost 20 minutes. I gotta go. Guess I should hit stop though before I go, huh?